Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
One, two, three, four. Hey, Shalom, family. Most High in Christ bless you all. Happy Sabbath. That's right. And for those watching online, Most High in Christ bless you. Happy Sabbath. All right. Today's class is entitled Malice and Bitterness. Forgot the title of my class. Has become your God. Thank you. It's right here. I wrote it down. Boy, I tell you. Did I give you a packet pen? Hello? No, I need that pen. Okay, good. All right, so let's begin. I want to begin with some definition of words, all right? Can you pull up the words that I've given you? In whatever order. Bitterness first, if you can. Let's look at some words. Let's get some definitions of them. The word bitterness.
Bitter, being inducing or marked by the one of the five basic.
Okay, let's go on that. That's not what I'm looking for. Can you just go, not to Miriam, just go to Google and type in the word bitter. He gives me cocoa. Oh, boy, I tell you. They could have just looked at the word. Here we go.
Yes, sir. Bitterness, anger. Number two, anger or disappointment at being treated unfairly. Resentment.
Resentment. Now hit that arrow right next to the word similar. Keep on going down across right there. Yeah, please. Let's see. Stop right there. Discontent, acrimony, grudge. All right? So we know the word means grudging. I don't know if you all seen the movie Acrimony. I don't want to use videos, but a very good movie. Bishop brought out in some classes about a year ago, 2 years, I forgot what it was. But it shows you how that bitterness is poison. Poison, all right? Good. The next word. So remember the word bitterness. Let's use the word grudge. All right? Let's try wrath. And I want you to just go to Google. The word wrath.
Wrath, extreme anger, chiefly used of humorous or
Rhetorical
effect.
Really, I just want the point. Extreme anger. So wrath is having an extreme anger. Now watch this. Drop down, scroll down a little bit. Let me see something. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Stop right there, stop right there. Okay, go back up. Up, 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 up. Hit that arrow for me. Okay, it's not there. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Stop right there. Do dictionary. Go down. No, you had it. I'm sorry. Right there, first one. Okay, scroll. Oh. Wrath. Strong, stern, fierce, deeply resentful indignation. Here's the point. Vengeance or punishment as a consequence of anger. So that's what I want. The word wrath is extreme anger that leads to vengeance or people that are vindictive. All right? The next word is anger. Anger. Read that for me.
Anger is an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong.
That deliberately done you wrong. So anger is an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong. That doesn't mean it did you wrong. You just feel like that. So you may have anger that's displaced, or you might have anger that's warranted. Anger could be a good thing. I don't want all that, all right? So anger is a displeasure, a strong displeasure. Wrath is a great anger. It's when you feel anger, but it's to the point where you want some get back. You're vindictive, all right? The next word I want is malice. Malice.
Malice, the intention or desire to do evil, ill will.
Is it, say again?
The intention or desire to do evil, ill will.
Right. Drop that little arrow next to it. Bitterness, look what comes up in that. Bitterness, hatred, hate, backbiting, rancor. That's a rough word, rancor. Grudge, enmity, all right? So malice is somebody that desires to do evil. Again, that's being vindictive, all right? Now let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. Now remember, the title of the class is Bitterness, or Malice and Bitterness Has Become Your God. I want you to read Ephesians 4, and I want verse 31. Now, we read this very often. This is a very common scripture that we go over, all right?
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice.
So it says, let all bitterness, wrath, anger, and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Watch this. I'm going to stay right in the same chapter, and I want to jump up to verse 29.
Verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth.
So with that spirit of bitterness, that grudging, that spirit of anger, wrath, and clamor, I didn't get the definition of that word. When you have a chance, look it up. Clamor, it tells you, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. So he's telling you that your corrupt communication will be based on the bitterness, the anger, the evil speaking, the wrath that's in your spirit. Now watch this. I want you to jump up to verse 26.
Verse 26. Be ye angry and sin not.
Now, down here in verse 31, it says that anger was wrong. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. But in verse 26, it says, be ye angry and sin not. What's the difference here? When it says, be ye angry and sin not. Who wants to try it? Right there in the front. Be ye angry and sin not.
Shalom, Bishop. Brother Asher, it's saying if you're angry, don't let any evil thing come out of your mouth. So don't sin even though you're angry.
Okay, right. Very good. So it's telling you that you're going to experience anger, displeasure. You're not going to like something. It's normal. That's not odd. But don't be angry where you begin to sin now. Because I'm angry, I'm going to hit you, shoot you. Because I'm angry, I'm going to bear false witness against you. If I did something to you, or if you felt like I did something to you, or to me, I should say, that now my behavior is going to be one where I'm going to now break God's commandments. So when it says, be angry and sin not, read on.
Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
And let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Who knows what that means? Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Brother, no, let me see. What does it mean? And let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Yep. The mic's not on? Somebody help him with that mic, please. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Shalom. Yeah, that's mean like if you get mad before you go to sleep, then it should not be.
No, that's the Christian way. That's the Christian church answer. I used to hear that too, Noah. Same thing. Who wants to try? The gentleman in the back. Oh, in the back. Right there. Right in front of you. Give him the mic. Right in front of you. So that means, before you answer, that means if you get angry at somebody, you better not fall asleep. Because if you fall asleep, you sinned. Every time I got arguing with my wife and I fell asleep, I'd be falling asleep on the argument. Please. Go ahead, shalom. That's the same thing he just said. I could tell both of y'all came at the Christian church. You old-time Christian, old-time religion. Old-time religion. No, come on, let's go. Give me the precept for it. Someone who got the precept.
Yes, sir. Micah 3:6.
Thank you. Let's go. Micah 3:6.
The book of Micah, chapter 3 and verse 6. Therefore, night shall be unto you, that ye shall not have a vision, and it shall be dark unto you.
It says, night shall be unto you. I'm not there with you. Read on. Read again from the top.
Yes, sir. Micah chapter 3, verse 6. Therefore, night shall be unto you, that ye shall not have a vision.
You will not have a vision. Read on.
And it shall be dark unto you, that ye shall not divine.
It shall be dark that you're not able to divine. No longer are you going to have a connect with God. Read on. Is there more?
Yes, sir. And the sun shall go down over the prophets.
And the sun going down over the prophets means their understanding is going to fade away. Because they're angry, and now because of anger, they're sinning, and they don't use the word of God on how to deal with it. So now God is taking away that spirit from them. Everybody understand that? I know I was taught the same way when I was young, that let not your anger, whatever. How go again? Fall not asleep. Whatever you call. Well, let's read it again, damn it. I forgot about it. Be angry and sin not, and not let the sun go down upon your wrath. Meaning, you're so angry that if you fall asleep, you're in sin. No. But notice in that verse, two words that sticks out. Anger and wrath. Watch this now. Be ye angry and sin not, and let not your wisdom or the sun go down upon your what? Your great anger. Because the anger that you feel in you, because you nurture it and feed it, it grows to now you have a wrathful spirit. And because wisdom has failed you now you set to kill somebody. You set to hurt somebody. You want to destroy somebody because you're so angry. Okay, watch this. I want you to. Next verse, 27.
Verse 27, Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 27. Neither give place to the devil.
It said what?
Neither give place to the devil.
So now we know that anger and wrath on you, if you're not applying God's commandments, you have given place to the devil. That's why he tells you in verse 29, read that again.
Verse 29, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers.
Right. That's why it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. What would be corrupt communication? Anything that's not as it is written is corrupt. Here, I'm going to help you all out. If you ever find yourself, brothers and sisters, in an argument or contention with a spouse or a brother, just stay in the Bible. Just use the word to the Bible. The minute you step out of that and you start using your own words to try to explain how you feel or how you think, that's when a problem arises. That's when you never really come to a solution. As it is written, this is what you did to me. The scripture says this. You're not supposed to offend. I'm one of the little ones. Here's the scripture. Read that. God said, use my words. These are the words. That's why you be having arguments and then you never come to resolution and you re-argue the same thing again because you keep on not using God's words for solution. So it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying. That which is good to the use of edifying. The words that come out your mouth should be used to edify a situation, to edify something, not to get back or get your lick back, that you feel you have to get something off. That's not what your words to be used for. It's to be used to edify, to the use of edifying, that it might minister grace unto the hearers, that the person that's receiving what's being told, it can minister grace unto them. It'll give them a chance of getting right. That's the whole thing. So if you're not doing that, it's corrupt. And if it's corrupt, verse 31.
Verse 31, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice.
So he says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor. What are those things? Clamor is what? Let's look up the word clamor. Clamor. A loud and confused noise, especially that of people shouting vehemently, sounds like arguing. Let all arguing cease. The servants of the Lord must not strive. Somebody has to be the more spiritually mature person to know that that conversation is not going to take us anywhere. It's not going to bring forth good fruits. Sometimes, I'm telling you something, when you hear people talk and they lash out, it's because they're battling things within themselves they don't got right. And they're directing all that on somebody else, which that person might be wrong. But that's what's pent up in them, that argumentative spirit. What does forcible words reprove? It says that in Job. I forgot where. Give me that real quick in Job. I forgot. What does, I think, yeah, forcible words. I don't know why I think 9:31, that comes to my mind. I could be wrong. That was close enough.
Job
Chapter
6 and verse 25.
Read.
How forcible are right words,
How forcible are right words? Read on.
but what doth your arguing reprove?
But what does your arguing reprove? What does it reprove? You're arguing. Clamor, all that what does it doesn't do anything. But where that come from? That malice and bitterness comes from. It comes from the God that you serve, which is Satan. And people don't seem to understand it. When you got that in your spirit and you got a contention, so you're always unhappy, always looking for a problem, always can't come to a solution, is because you're serving your God, Satan. That's why. Let's go back, and I want you to read verse 27.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 27. Neither give place to the devil.
That's you giving place to the devil. Okay, 31 one time, I'm going to read it. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking, lying, bearing false witness, backbiting, be put away from you with all malice. So all these characteristics are coupled with malice. What is malice? A revengeful spirit. Wrath, a wrathful spirit that's vindictive. Watch this. Where does this come from? James 3. And I always find myself right here in James. Always come right back here. James 3:14.
James chapter 3 and verse 14. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth.
So when it says, but if you have bitter envying, you have a grudgeful spirit, You have now listen to these words, an envious spirit. You are bitter and you're envious, and you have strife in your heart, glory not, and lie not against the truth. I want somebody to help me understand the last part of that. If you have those things, glory not, and lie not against the truth. What does that mean? Young man right here.
Can you repeat the verse again?
Somebody repeat it.
Yes, sir. James chapter 3, verse 14. But if you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth.
I want the last part. Glory not, and lie not against the truth.
So if you have all these things and somebody's trying to correct you and tell you what you're doing wrong, don't lie and say that it's not these things aren't in you. So it says don't lie against the truth.
You're not too far off. You're not too far off. You're right. You're right around there. Hold this real quick. Go. We're gonna come right back here. Go to 2 Ezra 16, verse 53. Watch this. 2 Ezra 16, 53.
Yes, sir. 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 53. Let not the sinner say that he have not sinned, for God shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which said before the Lord God and his glory, I have not sinned.
Read on.
Behold, the Lord knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts.
The Lord knows. That's why it says, glory not. If you have bitter envy and strife, where? Let's go back.
James chapter 3, verse 14. But if you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts.
So now, where's your bitter envy and strife at? Where is it located? Which is your mind, right? It's telling you, if you got an envious and a bitter spirit, don't lie against the truth. I mean, you're acting like I haven't sinned. God said the thought of foolishness is sin. God said you will heap coals of fire upon your head because you're carrying around that hatred, that envy, that bitter, that malice. You're lying. You know you're crazy because you're lying to yourself. There's nothing wrong. I'm good. Okay. It says lie not against the truth. Read on.
Verse 15. This wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
So now there's a wisdom that comes from God, and there's a wisdom that comes from the devil. This wisdom is what? We just read the verse before that. Bitter envy, strife in your hearts. This wisdom, which is bitter envy and strife in your heart, descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, it's devilish. So who you serving? Your God, Satan. Your God, the devil you're serving. Those are the things, and you know what? And I go through so many times, and I go over this class, it's sensual, it's devilish because in you it feels good. You feel justified. It's sensual, and it fools you to make you believe you okay, but you're not. That's why I titled the class, Malice and Bitterness has become your God. Watch this. We're going to go from there to Sirach 40. Oh. Before we read, thank you. Before we read Sirach 40, I want to read one scripture. Let's go to 2 Samuel 17, and then we're going to circle back to this afterwards. I'm going to put this right here and lay it down here, and then I want you all to ask yourself, why did he read this scripture? Let me just get there myself. 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 23. That's it.
2 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 23. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and got him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father.
So just, I want you to just take that, put that there, and just think about it, and then ask yourself, what does that have to do with what he's talking about? This man, Ahithophel, and for those that study would know who he was, and we're going to come back and deal with him later, but he went and committed suicide, all right? Let's go to Sirach 40, thank you. Sirach 40, I want to start with verse 1.
Sirach chapter 40, verse 1. Great travail is created for every man, and an heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam, from the day that they got out of their mother's womb to the day that they returned to the mother of all things.
So great travail is created for every man, and a heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam, from the day they go out of their mother's womb till the day they return to the mother of all things, to the earth. Read on.
Their imagination of things to come, and the day of death trouble their thoughts, and cause fear of heart.
Listen what it says. Their imagination of things to come, and the day of death trouble their thoughts. All of us have that. You never get trouble with the thought of, man, I'm going to die one day. No, man, am I going to live till I'm old to see my children? Am I going to accomplish things, people dying? It troubles everybody. Read on.
Verse 3. From him that sitteth on a throne of glory, unto him that is humbled in the earth and ashes, from him that weareth purple and a crown, unto him that is clothed with linen frocks.
So it says to all men, from the rich to the poor, they all are going to be troubled with death. What verse was that?
That was verse 4, Bishop. 1 verse 5.
Yeah, read.
Verse 5. Wrath and envy, trouble and unquietness, fear of death and anger, and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night's sleep.
So
look, change his knowledge.
Okay, so who wants to try to explain that verse for me? I'm listening. Right, wrath and envy, trouble, unquietness, fear of death, anger and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night sleep doth change his knowledge. So if your mind is occupied with wrath and envy and trouble and unquietness, fear of death, these were things you think about, it says, and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night sleep doth change his knowledge. Watch what the next verse says.
Verse 6. A little or nothing is his rest, and afterward he is in his sleep, as in a day of keeping watch, troubled in the vision of his heart.
Listen what it says. A little or nothing is his rest. He really can't rest because his mind is occupied with wrath and strife and envy and trouble and fearing of dying. It says a little or nothing is his rest. And afterward, he is in his sleep in the day of keeping watch, troubled in night vision out of the heart, as he was escaped out of a battle. And his mind is troubled in his sleep. He has nightmares. Carrying on. You know what it is to carry on that burden of malice and bitterness till it troubles your sleep that you can't sleep? People think, I can't imagine what they did to me. How can they do that to me? Who the hell they think that? But you carry that stuff around. That's such a weight to carry. Your mind is not occupied in the laws of God. It's occupied in how you was treated or what happened to you. Well, watch you read on.
When all is safe, he awaketh and marveleth that the fear was nothing.
And then he wakes and he realized, oh, none of that really happened. But was it not torment that he suffered? And he wakes up and it wasn't nothing. And then there's tomorrow night. And it's the same thing again, it's torment. Now look what it says next.
Such things happen unto all flesh.
Wait a second. It says this happened to all flesh. Read on.
Both man and beast.
Both man and beast. All people get angry. All people got the spirit of wrath on them. Nobody's above that. Say, I want to punch him in his face. Everybody goes through that. Everybody has unquietness in their life. But look what it says.
And that is sevenfold more upon sinners.
It says, but it's sevenfold upon a sinner. I'm telling you, I've experienced before where I wake up and I'm like, oh. And it says 7 more fold. I'm telling you, you live in a torment of your mind. Your mind is tormented by this. 7 more fold upon the mind of a sinner. So let's go from that to Galatians. So what did that have to do with Ahithophel? We're going to find out a little later on. 5 and 20.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 20. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Now look what it says. I know it starts in like 18, but I want to start with 20. Idolatry. Let's start with verse 19.
Yes, sir. Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
Now the works of the flesh are going to be made manifest. It's going to be clear.
Which are these?
So you're going to see this. They're going to be what?
Adultery.
They're going to commit adultery. Read on.
Fornication.
They're going to fornicate.
Uncleanness.
All manner of uncleanness.
Lasciviousness.
These are things you're going to see. Then you're going to see what?
Idolatry.
They're going to be in idolatry. But look what's read on.
Witchcraft. Hatred.
They're going in that spirit is going to manifest. People are going to be under the spell of witchcraft. Some people are going to be with the spirit of hatred. Read on.
Variance. Emulations. Wrath. Strife. Seditions. Heresies.
So notice with this, it says idolatry. Remember we read in James, this wisdom then is descendeth not from above, but earthly, sensual, devilish. What did it say about that kind of wisdom? Read that verse again in James.
Yes, sir.
And hold this right here. Like verse 15 or something like that.
James chapter 3 and verse 14. But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts.
Didn't we just read that just now? About strife in the book of Galatians? Read on.
Glory not and lie not against the truth.
Don't glory not and lie not against the truth. Why?
This wisdom.
Because that wisdom, what?
This wisdom descendeth not from above.
It ain't from God.
But it's earthly.
Read on.
Sensual. Devilish.
It's devilish. Now go back to Galatians 5.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 20. Idolatry, witchcraft.
So now it says one of the things going to manifest is idolatry. That's a sensual devilish. And what's found in the same chapter, same verse, hatred, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies. A lot of times when you find people with that spirit of malice, what's one in bitterness? What's one thing they come out with? A heresy, a new doctrine, a new understanding. All that is to justify why they feel like they feel, to mask it. It's called what? Sensual. It's devilish. It's your God, Satan, instructing you and telling you, this is what I want you to do, my servant. New understanding for me. What's verse 21?
Verse 21. Envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they that do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
So it says there's envyings that's going to be manifest. People will become murderers. Why would you murder? Because you hate your brother. You want to murder him. So it says envyings, murders, drunkenness, reveling, and such alike, of which I tell you before, as I told you in time past, they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. But they are going to inherit to themselves Satan's kingdom. There's going to be a payment for what they're doing. They're going to get it. Now watch this. I'm going to show you about that envying that's so bad. John 11. You gotta give me 1 second. I gotta look for it. I didn't write it down. Just bear with me. John 11. Verse 46.
John chapter 11 and verse 46. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them
Yeah, go ahead.
what things Jesus had done. Then gathered the chief priests, the Pharisees.
I'm sorry, start with verse 45.
Yes, sir. Verse 45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Jesus had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him. And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
What verse was that?
Verse 49.
Read on.
And one of them, named Cephas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us, that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in the children of God that were scattered abroad.
So watch this. Verse 45, let me read it. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did believed on him. So now you have people who were turned to God, who was repenting. And then it said in verse 46, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them the things that Jesus had done. What was Jesus doing? He was leading them to God. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees and counseled and said, what do we? For this man doth many miracles. They said, what should we do? What did they feel at that point? They felt threatened. What should we do? This man is doing miracles. That's an envy. You have a place with God if you do the right thing. But now they conspire. What should we do? Look what he says next. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and a nation. They said we're going to lose our place and our status, and we're going to lose control of the nation. When they had that thought in their mind that they were going to lose their place and nation, what was the fruits of their actions? Hatred, murder. That's what came from it. The hatred grew so bad. And all he was doing was teaching people to come back to the laws of God.
that at?
Admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
To believe that he was the one sent from God to die for them. He never one time told them, stop going to the synagogue, stop sacrificing. He didn't tell them nothing. He just taught them to apply the laws of God. So you're going to find people that will hate when the laws of God is being applied. And when I say hate, I'm talking about bitter hatred. It says, verse 46.
Verse 46, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Jesus had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doth many miracles. If we let him alone thus, all men will believe on him. And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Read.
And one of them, named Caiaphas, being high priest that same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he, not of himself, but being high priest that same year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation.
So listen what it says. Caiaphas, who was the high priest, he was the head man in charge. He was the one who God put the wisdom on to be the one to lead the people. He said, this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation. So was Caiaphas' prophecy false? No. His prophecy was true. His prophecy was right. Read on.
Verse 52, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
And he also understood that northern kingdom had to be brought back in. So his prophecy was short. In other words, God was talking to him and instructed him what to say. With all that, what happened next?
Then from that day forth, they took counsel together for to put him to death.
That's how bad their hatred was. Even after he prophesied, said, God has showed me this to let you know that this man's the Messiah. But because of their malice and their bitterness of possibly losing their place, they said, irregardless, we're going to put him to death. So don't make you believe today that people, they can hear this Bible, they can hear the word of God. When people got that spirit on them, don't think the Bible is going to work. This man prophesied before the Pharisees, people that were supposed to be studied. And it's like, we heard you, Caiaphas. Okay, so how are we going to kill this dude? They dismissed everything. They dismissed everything. 2 Peter 2 real quick. They didn't want to hear that. Please. Peter what? Caiaphas, please. 2 verse 10.
2 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government, presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities.
These people are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. They're presumptuous and self-willed. They despise the leadership. They despise the government of Christ coming back, even after one of theirs told him, this man is sent of God. They despise order. Watch this. Verse 1.
Verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies.
Didn't we read about that earlier, about heresies? In the same chapter, the same verse, where you have people that had the spirit of wrath, envy, heresy. All those are attributes that all stick together. When you see one, there's a very good likelihood you're going to see other of those same characteristics in that person or round about that person. A person that got a spirit of wrath will click with a person that got a spirit of hatred. When you see a person that got a spirit of hatred, they're going to click with a person that got a seditious, despised leadership or government. They're always going to attribute it. They're like pieces to a big puzzle that they all just fit in together. It says that's going to bring in damnable heresies,
even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
They're going to bring upon themselves swift destruction. Let's go from that real quick. I want to go to Acts 17. The book of Acts 17. I'm going to start with verse 1. And I want you to look up the word assault. 17 and 1.
Acts chapter 17, verse 1. Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews. And Paul and his manner went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures.
3 Sabbath days, he kept on teaching, read on.
Opening and alleging that Christ must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that this Jesus whom I preach unto you is Christ. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few.
So you had devout Greeks that began to consort with Paul. It said, and Silas. And out of the devout Greeks, a great multitude began to listen to him. And of the chief women, not a few. Read on.
But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy.
But the Jews that refused to follow Christ, believed not. What happened? What was the next attribute? They were moved. They were moved with envy. Read on.
Took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar.
Didn't we just read that about clamor, evil speaking? So you have it. Give me that again in Ephesians 4:31. We're going to come right back here. As you get it, I'm going to read this. But the Jews which believed not, moved to envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sorts, and gathered a company, and set all the city in a uproar. Give me that.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor
And what?
And clamor and evil speaking,
Here we go.
be put away from you.
Give me definition of clamor again. Clamor. A loud and confused noise, especially that of people shouting vehemently. This is them trying to usurp or disrupt or overthrow Christ's government being built. And it's because of envy. So let's read that again in Acts 17.
Acts chapter 17 and verse 5. But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people.
They were so angry, they went and assaulted the house of Jason. Let's see what the word assault means. To hit, strike, smack, clap, beat, thrash. So they went in the house and they started beating the house of Jason. That means his wife, his children, his mama, his mother-in-law, whoever was in the house of his family, they began to beat. Why? It all based from envy. They hated it. They hated Paul so much that they beat Jason's house. Their house, wife is home, whatever she doing with the kids. You come home, next thing you know, she getting beat. I'm telling you something, when that devil jump on people, that malice, Satan got you and you doing his bidding. I'm trying to, in my mind, cope with the thought of Jason is like, yo, you hit my mom. I'm not laughing. I'm just saying, in my mind, the way I'm thinking, like, you're beating my children. You're assaulting us. So read that verse one time.
Verse 5. But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people.
Read on.
And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city.
So when they couldn't find who they was looking for, Paul and them and Silas, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city. Now remember what they said. They sought them to bring them out to the people. The people, they wanted to kill Paul. But when they couldn't find him, they brought Jason out. Read on.
Crying, these that have turned the world upside down are come hither also.
He said, and they were out clamorous, screaming, these men have come to turn our world upside down. They were trying to win public opinion, to persuade, popular persuasion, to win the minds of the people over. Read on.
And Jason hath received, and these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king, one Jesus.
So look what envy does. Paul and Silas was out teaching the Israelites. These men got jealous and envious. Looking for Paul, they beat Jason's household, drew Jason out into the street, and said, this man Jason is harboring these people. And to make it worse, they said in verse 7, whom Jason had received, and all these do contrary to the decree of Caesar. They had so much envy in their hearts, these Jews, they were trying to get him in trouble with the white man. That's all because of envy. They was going to turn them over. And that's just because of words, of teaching. Yeah, we can't get him. We're going to turn him over. We're going to turn him over to Caesar. I tell you, boy. But here's the thing behind it. These were the Jews which believe not. So these Jews believe that they were right. That's what it says. If you got bitter envy and strife in your heart, lie not against the truth. Because these dudes do the commandments. They thought they were right. They thought what they were doing was right. It was right. You were doing the right thing if you're serving Satan, your God. You're doing exactly what he wants you to do. John 16. Oh, no. Acts 12. Acts 23, I'm sorry. Acts 23, verse 12. Verse 11. Verse 10. No, I'm sorry. Verse 9.
Acts chapter 23 and verse 9. And there arose a great cry, and the scribes that were of the Pharisees part arose and strove, saying, We find no evil in this man. But if a spirit or an angel hath spoken to him, let us not fight against God.
Deferring to Paul. Read on.
And when there arose a certain great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them.
What? It was such a dissension because of Paul's teaching. The captain was afraid these people were so irate and frantic that they was going to pull Paul apart. You understand what kind of people they have to be? They didn't say they was going to stab him. They were going to rip him from limb. That's legions of demons out there. When I read that in my mind, I'm thinking like, they're talking about pulling his arm off, pulling his head off. Paul was a bad man. I'm telling you, see Paul right there? Paul was no joke. Because he was going to the cities knowing what was going on with these people. This man, read that verse again.
Yes, sir. Acts chapter 23, verse 10. And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down and to take him by force from among them and to bring him into the castle.
So the soldiers had to go down there and take him by force. He was so afraid that they were going to rip this man apart. You think the soldiers went down there and said, hey, guys, you think, can you please turn him over to us? Now, these soldiers going down there beating people, let him go, fighting. These people wasn't going to let him up go like that. He had to send men down there possibly to kill people to free Paul. Because, if he left Paul there, Paul wasn't going to be able to escape. They would have ripped him in pieces. That's a violent spirit, man. Only malice and bitterness can make you so violent to the point where it's going to rip you in pieces. Damn. Boy, I tell you, read on.
Verse 11. And the night following, the Lord stood by him and said, Be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome.
He says, the same way you testify me in Jerusalem, you're going to bear witness at Rome. So where was they going to rip him in pieces at? His own people. Paul didn't make it to Rome yet. It wasn't Esau that did anything to him yet. It was going to be his own kind that hated him so much they wanted to rip Paul in pieces. He said, good job, Paul, but you got to testify me here, but you're going to go to Rome and testify me over there also. So that, you did your work now, but your work ain't done. Just get ready. That's what we say sometimes. Your foes shall be those of your own household. They will hate you. They would kill you. Read on.
And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse.
It wasn't a vow, under a curse. Read on.
Saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul.
Man, you really had something. You were so angry. And it wasn't warranted. All this man was doing was teaching to keep God's commandment, and Christ is the way. That they said, you know what? We couldn't get him, but because we're so angry, I got a great idea. We're going to, I'm going to read the exact words it says. We're going to band together and bound themselves under a curse. You know what I mean? They made a vow. These were Jews who made a vow to God. The vow they made to God was they wanted to kill another man. That's the vow they made to God. God, I have so much disdain and rancor. It's not in the Bible, I like that word. That we're not going to eat until you deliver him into our hand that we can kill him. Damn, they fasting to Satan. That's exactly what they do. They fasting to Satan. What kind of... You are of your father, the devil. He got away from us, but I got a bright idea. Satan, Lord Satan, we're not going to eat until we kill him. These are the ones that they lose their night's sleep when they're in bed and they waking up and sevenfold more upon the sinners. They're so driven by hate and whatever disdain. Finish that.
Verse 13. And there were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy.
They all had a conspiracy. They joined together. They was conspiring. That's why I said all these spirits are going to connect. Wrath, anger, hate, variance, all these spirits, they all disdain. They all connect together. They conspire. You angry, but I got wrath. You angry, you got wrath, but I got bitterness. I got malice. Read on.
Verse 14. And they came to the chief priests and elders and said, we have bound ourselves under a great curse, that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul.
Whose idea was this? Read on.
Now therefore, ye with the council signify to the chief captain that he bring him down unto you tomorrow, as though ye would inquire something more perfectly concerning him. And we, or ever he come near, are ready to kill him.
Yo, this is premeditated murder. Damn. Watch this. John 16. John 16. I want you to read verse 1 and 2.
John chapter 16 and verse 1. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogue. Yea, the time cometh, that whatsoever killeth you would think that he have done God's service.
There's going to be some. He said there's going to be a time where you're going to be, that ain't going to put you out the synagogue. But here's the point. There will come a time that people will try to destroy you. And they're going to be trying to use precepts and thinking they're doing God's service and think they're serving God. But you are. Just like the God you think you're serving. You're serving your God, Satan. Sirach 27. The book of Sirach. Just bear with me. Let me get it with you. 27. And I want verse 27.
Sirach chapter 27 and verse 27. He that worketh mischief, it shall fall upon him, and he shall not know whence it cometh.
But he that worketh mischief, it shall fall upon him, and he will not know when it cometh. Read on.
Mockery and reproach are from the proud, but vengeance as a lion shall lie in wait for them.
Read on.
They that rejoice at the fall of the righteous shall be taken in the snare, and anguish shall consume them before they die.
Read.
Malice and wrath.
What?
Malice and wrath. Even these are abominations, and the sinful man shall have them both.
And that's what it said. Malice and wrath are an abomination. And God said the sinful man shall have them both. He's going to have wrath. What wrath? He's going to have great anger that's going to receive him. He's going to have malice that's going to receive him. Is seeking revenge. Why? Because that person, he worketh mischief. He's trying to get at somebody or something. So God said, malice and wrath you are going to have. But who is it going to come from? It's going to come from the Most High God. Go from that real quick to, give me that real quick. Vengeance is mine, Romans 12. Is that right? That's Romans 12. What verse is it again?
Start at
Vengeance by verse 19. Let me go. Read verse 19.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves.
It says, dearly beloved, don't feel like you got to avenge yourself. Don't feel like you have to avenge yourself. Read on.
But rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord.
Right. A lot of times what happens, now I'm going to change up the gears a little bit. When somebody offends you, do ill towards you, for some reason, some people have this mind like it's their responsibility or their right to pay that person back. Elaz, if I stole from you, whose commandment did I break?
Broke the commandment of the Lord.
But I broke God's commandment, right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't break your commandment. I broke the Father in heaven's commandment.
Sir.
So the Lord said, he broke my commandments. It's for me to punish him, not for you to do it. Man wants to take on the responsibility of feeling like, I need get back. I need to punish him. I need to do him in for that. That's why verse 17.
Verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil.
You don't recompense evil for evil. Read on.
Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
Read on.
If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head.
So now when it says, therefore, if the enemy is the enemy of your people, I hope you understand it. That ain't talking about going to feed Esau. No. The enemy is the enemy of your people. How do you know that? Who can prove that? Anybody know? Nobody? Right there, I'm listening. Shalom.
Repeat
It
that
says,
again.
read that verse again.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 20. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him.
Stop.
If-
I want to know who's that enemy there.
It can be a family member.
Not just family member, but
Friends.
who has a precept for that? Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. It ain't talking about the other nation. Who has a precept for that? Anybody know? This is an old precept we've been using for years. Nobody?
Brother Thossi.
Shalom leadership, Sirach 12 and 2.
Nope. First Samuel's. Let's go. $18.
Yes, sir. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 28. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually.
So Saul became an enemy of David. They were the same people, same nation. So the enemy is referring to as the enemy of your people. So the point I want to get to in this verse is that this verse is okay, let's go back and read it. It's a metaphor. Because when it says, therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. Does it mean that we're supposed to go out and put food on the table of somebody that's dealing with you ill? Is that what it's talking about? I'm asking. Yes or no? No. So the feed is what? Huh? the word of God. He's hungered because he's lacking in the word of God. He's thirsty for the word of God. You deal with him according to the scripture. Don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. Even though you're angry at him and he's your enemy, you still deal with him uprightly. You don't deal with him ill. You don't wish hatred on him or his family. You don't try to take advantage of him. You don't try to pay him back the way he's dealt with you or she's dealt with you. That's why God said, vengeance is mine. They broke my commandments. They didn't break your commandments. You don't got no commandments you made. I made the commandments. And your paying them back can't be worse than what the God's going to do. Read on. Read verse 20 one more time.
Yes, sir. Romans chapter 12 and verse 20. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou hast heaped coals of fire upon his head.
You still deal with him. You still try to edify him. Let no corrupt communication proceed out your mouth, but that which is to the use of edifying. That's feeding him and giving him something to drink, refreshing him, that you're applying these scriptures towards him. Read on.
Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good.
What does it say? Don't allow evil to overcome you, where now you're moving and you're bitter and you're hateful and you have malice in your heart. Sirach 28. So nobody's curious on why I was talking about Ahithophel. Nobody's saying he pulled that precept, but I don't know what that got to do with the man committed suicide. I'm not sure how that connects. Let's do this. Sirach 28. We might read this whole chapter. Let me see. Let's start with verse 1. Let's see how far we're going to go.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 1. He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord, and he will surely keep his sins in remembrance.
So if you try to find vengeance after God told you vengeance is his, he says, shall find vengeance of the Lord. The Lord said, oh, I'm going to surely give you vengeance. So to put out vengeance, you had to either been wronged or feel like you've been wronged. And now you want some get back. You want to get your lick back. God said, if you got vengeance, you revengeth, you're going to find vengeance for me. Read on. And you know, listen, stop real quick. And that would make sense. Because God was saying, how can you think to try to get back and punish someone when you in error with me anyway? You's a sinner. You ain't right. Who are you to think you're going to give back anybody? No. He was without sin, cast the first stone. Read on.
Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done unto thee.
It says what?
Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done unto thee. So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest.
That's hard for people to do, to forgive their neighbor the hurt that was done unto them. People will carry that around 5, 10, 20, 40 years. They cannot forgive and get past that hurt. They struggle. On their night sleep, just change their countenance. They can't get, they fight. A lot of women got that stuff for them. Any of you men that's like that, I always look at men like that, effeminate. Any man that's overly emotional, can't get over stuff. You know what he said to me back in 2018? Them man spirits around me, I just keep my distance. I don't want them around me. No. He'd be there talking and me, and I can't believe you're not there. And it bothered me, and I was hurt, and I was that ain't no living right there. It says what?
Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done unto thee.
Now, forgiving him don't mean you be an idiot also. It ain't talking about forgive and you just forget like you don't remember. You stole from me. Yo, we cool, but you ain't coming to my house. No, I don't want you there. But I'm cool. I'm not going to deal with you ill. I'm not going to try to steal from you. I'm not going to murmur and talk about you. But no. We just don't meet here anymore. I see you at the school, go to camp, whatever. We chill, take photos, You know, I got you. You falling short, I got you. Just put it in writing because I need my stuff back. Because if you're a thief, there's a good chance you're going to lie. No, I'm not saying, no, I'm over that. I'm good. But the point is, people sometimes take forgiving, meaning you open the door right back up. No, you don't. That's not what it's talking about. That's that Christian mind. We don't.
So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest.
So shall thy sins be forgiven when thou prayest. Read on.
One man beareth hatred against another.
Okay, go ahead, finish.
One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord?
What does the word beareth mean? To carry. You carry around hatred. You lugging that big weight around. And then you want to seek forgiveness from God? Read on.
He showeth no mercy to a man, which is like himself, and doth he ask forgiveness for his own sins?
Read on.
If he that is but flesh nourisheth hatred, who will entreat for pardon of his sins?
To nourish hatred is to feed hatred. That's why it says in Romans, make no provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. People leave that in their spirit. They can't get past it. It's like a drug to them. They don't know. It's not enough for them. They want more and more and more and more because they're just not happy with themselves. Read on.
Verse 6, remember thy end, and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments.
And what?
And abide in the commandments.
It says what?
Remember thy end, and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments.
And abide in the commandments. Remember the commandments, and it says, remember thy end, and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments. He's saying, remember corruption and death. Don't forget what comes from that, and you better abide in the commandments. Remember the end, because the end of that spirit is corruption and death. Read on.
Verse 7, remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest, and wink at ignorance. Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sin. For a furious man will kindle strife.
It says, remember the commandments and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest, and wink at his sin or his ignorance. That means just forgive and move on. Yep. It says, abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins, for a furious man will kindle strife. So let's identify this now. There's a problem. He's saying, remember the end is going to be destruction. He said, a furious man is going to kindle strife. Somebody explain to me what it means by kindle. Pick somebody.
Brother Keithan, stand up. Yeah, press the button.
Shalom. It's like to start something up.
Say again?
It's like to start something up or strike it up. Spark
Okay.
it up.
So when it says kindle, I lost my place.
I'll read it again, Bishop.
Thank you.
Verse 8, abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins. For a fierce man will kindle strife.
I'm listening.
It's like instigation. Like instigating something to make something bigger. Kind of like how they do with the puffing thing to blow the fire and make it bigger.
Right, okay, good. A furious man will kindle, he will entertain and help move that on. So if a person is dealing wrong, right, and he has a spirit of malice in him, if he can't forgive, he has a spirit of bitterness in him, and you kindle that, because here's go, he's directing it at you. He's directing that vibration towards you. And if you kindle it, you what? You help grow it.
Yeah.
You help grow that. Hold this, we're going to come right back here. Go to 1 John. I'm going to read 1 John chapter 4. Verse 4. Just one more verse.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 4. Ye are of God,
Ye of God,
little children, and have overcome them,
ye of God, little children, and you overcome them. What? Read on.
because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Greater is God in you than them that are in the world. So those that are in the world, if they're able to provoke you that you kill that, that means God is not strong in you. God should be strong enough in you. Read that one more time for me from the top.
Yes, sir. 1 John chapter 4 and verse 4. Ye are of God, little children,
So if you have God, read on,
and have overcome them,
and you overcome this world,
because greater is he that is
stop. Because greater is God, read on,
because greater is he that is in you
greater is God than in you than what?
than he that is in the world.
Than the man that's in the world. So if a man provoke you and you entertain that, you are now serving Satan. That man was able to move you out of your spirit with God. He was able to get you to defile yourself to entertain foolishness. God has to be great in you. When Christ was reviled, did he revile back? No. He left everything in the hand of God to deal with. Let's go back. Watch this.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 8.
Verse 8.
Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins. For a furious man will kindle strife.
For a furious man will kindle strife. Abstain from it, but a furious man will kindle it. Read on.
A sinful man disquieteth friends.
So here's an attribute. A man that is sinful is going to disquiet friends. What is he going to do? He's going to murmur. He's going to sow discord. A sinful man, this is one of his attributes. He's going to become a whisperer, a backrider. He's going to disquiet friends.
And make it debate among them that be at peace.
That's the clamorous we read about. He's going to make contention and debate to people that are at peace. Everybody's good but you. But because you're a sinful man, you're going to come in. And for you brothers that allow somebody to come in, or sisters to come in and disturb your peace that's in here, and you entertain that because that's my friend, you and your friend are in the front row or the front pew of the church of Satan, giving spiritual tithes, ready to fast, ready to fast for him. A sinful man, my mind, that's how I see you coming and you trying to say something that I'm like, why is he telling me that for? Well, that don't make no. And the point was, and the end result is what? Oh, you trying to? Oh, yeah, I'm just like Bobo the fool. I'm not going for that. Nope. The scripture says, it didn't say a righteous man is going to disquiet friend. It says a sinful man. So I'm cool. Me and Halez is cool. So why are you coming with that for? What is that supposed to mean to me? Okay, I know who you are. Okay, you have your father Satan. Read on.
A sinful man disquieteth friends, and make a debate among them that be at peace.
Read on.
As the matter of the fire is, so it burneth. And as a man's strength is, so is his wrath.
Read on.
And according to his riches, his anger riseth. And the stronger they are which contend, the more they will be inflamed.
Read on.
And hasty contention kindleth a fire.
Being hasty in contention, what? Kindleth a fire. Read on.
And in hasty fighting sheddeth blood.
That's a man that's rash, hasty in his way. That should be at all. It says, if all possible, be at peace with all men. So, other words, that's the last alternative. When all else fails, you tried everything. But a hasty contention kindles fire, and a hasty fighting will shed blood. Watch this. 12.
Verse 12. If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth.
You can blow on a spark and incinerate or in, what's what I'm looking for? To contribute, that's not the word I wanted, to contribute to the fire, or you could spit on it and put it out. So now he's trying to show you how you to handle a person that's full of what? Bitterness in their spirit. Don't allow corrupt communication to proceed from your mouth. Read on.
Curse the whisperer and double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace.
It says the whisperer and the double tongue, the liar, such have destroyed many that were at peace. You had many people that had peace, but you had somebody that bared malice in their spirit, and they came in and they disrupted the peace that was there. We read earlier, these people who have that spirit, sometimes they come with heresies. It's to disrupt what's happening. So all of us get to identify these things, see it, avoid it. If it's in us, remove it from us. If it's in other people, don't let it affect you. All that is to do is to move you out of the way of what's being done, what's growing here. Read on.
Verse 14. A backbiting tongue have disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities hath they pulled down.
So it says, a backbiting tongue, a lying tongue have disquieted many and driven them from nation to nation. A backbiting tongue has driven people out of here, from congregation to congregation. Lies moved them all over the place. Now they're out there in the wilderness, murmuring and upset with their lives, the wrong decisions they made. Read on.
And overthrown the houses of great men.
And a backbiting tongue has overthrown the houses of great men. That's how severe that mouth can be, that hatred can be. That backbiting, you're willing to lie because you're so hateful and angry that you'll destroy somebody. Read on.
A backbiting tongue have cast out virtuous women.
Okay, I'm done there. So let's go back. Damn, it's only 3:30. Dang. Let's go to, let me explain what I was talking about earlier. So now we're going to go back to this bitterness, Ahithophel. Where did we read again? 2 Samuel 17, right? Just give me another half an hour maybe. That should be done. 2 Samuel 17, 23. Let's read that one more time and then let's explain.
Yes, sir. 2 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 23. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and got him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself and died and was buried in the sepulchre of his father.
So now he saw that his counsel wasn't followed. I don't know if you all know this history in here, but we're going to do a little power reading right now, all right? I want to jump back to chapter 5. I don't know where to start with. Let's go back to 2 Samuel 11. We'll start there. All right, we're going to have the power read right now. Let me do some of the reading myself. All right, I'm going to start, and then you pick up afterwards, right, officer?
Yes, sir.
All right, so, okay, we can't start here. Let's start with 2 Samuel 15 and 12, and then we'll come here. Read that for me.
2 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 12. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor.
So Ahithophel was who?
David's counselor.
He was David's counselor. Read on.
From his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices, and the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom.
So now Absalom sent for Ahithophel, who was David's counselor, right? This was a man that was close with David in his inner circle that gave him advice, right? Watch this. Before I read that, let's go to 2 Samuel's chapter 16, I think it is. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Hey, texting, pull that up, counselor definition. BibleStudyTools.com. All right, so this is the definition of counselor on BibleStudyTools.com. Old Testament significance. The Old Testament counselor served to advise the king on such matters as national defense and plans for war.
So he gave counsel for what?
As national defense and plans for war.
He gave him for national defense and plans for war. So he was close with David. David's whole life was a life of warring. All right, so let's begin. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna start in 2 Samuel 11. All right, let me do some reading first. Verse 1. And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when the kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. And they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, and David tarried still at Jerusalem. So who was there counseling him? Ahithophel. All right? And it came to pass at the evening time that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? So Bathsheba was the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he laid with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah unto David. And Uriah was come unto him. David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said unto Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. So David slept with his wife. He came back. She said she was pregnant. So let's say David had sex with her. He committed adultery, had sex with her. And then she came back and told him he was pregnant. So you know there was a war going on. Ahithophel was giving him counsel. She came back and pregnant. Generally, a woman's going to find out about a month later she's pregnant, right? It's about a month, next cycle. So 4 to 6 weeks, she finds out she's pregnant. She tells David. David calls for Uriah. Uriah, come on down. Come on down. How's the war going? Everything is good. He said, here's some meat. Go home, enjoy your wife. Uriah didn't go home. When Uriah came, now I'm trying to help paint the picture. When Uriah came to saying David, what do you think he came into? He came into the throne room where David sat. Who would have been in the throne room with David? Ahithophel. That's one of his closest, his counselors, right? Okay. So Ahithophel sees David, sees Uriah. Hey, Uriah, how you doing? Yeah, good. How's it doing? Whatever. Uriah doesn't go to his wife. He sleeps down. Where did it say he slept again? Verse 9, it says, he slept at the door of the king's house. So at the door of the king's house, this is me painting the picture in my mind. Okay, meal was good, everything's over. Uriah, he ended not going, he slept at the door. Ahithophel had to go home, right? He walks outside, like, Uriah's there. He goes home. All right, bye. What verse we at? Verse 10, and when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down to thy house? David wanted to go home and sleep with his wife. And Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine own house to eat and to drink and lie with my wife? As thou livest, as thy soul liveth, I will not do a thing. Damn, he was loyal. And David said unto Uriah, Tarry here today also and tomorrow, and I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. So David now plied him with liquor, got him drunk, and no, he's drunk, he gonna go try to go with his wife. And at even he went out to lie on his own bed with his servants, and his Lord went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter and saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew the valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab. And there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. So David sent Uriah with a note, told him, take this to Joab, my captain of the host. He opens it. It was his death warrant. Joab sent him out in the middle of battle. Everybody fell back. Uriah died. So you know the word came back. Who do you think was there? Ahithophel. He heard all those things, right? Okay, good. All right, then. Let me show you about bitterness. Let's go to 2 Samuel's 16. Bear with me 1 second. 16:21. You can read that for me.
2 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse 21. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubine, which he hath left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father.
Okay, real quick. I want you to find, not you, I want you, one of you find me where it says Ahithophel was like the oracles of God. It's in one of those, it's like 16:17 right there. So read that one more time for me.
2 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse 21. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubine, which he had left to keep the house.
Right, so now, look, remember, Ahithophel was David's counselor. From David was young. Absalom wasn't born when David slept with Bathsheba. Oh, he might have been. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. He might have been. But here's the point. That was many, many moons ago. So now, all of a sudden, now Ahithophel is telling Absalom, he's grown up, go sleep with David's wives. What are you doing? Was you David's counselor? Read on.
And all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. So they spared Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. And Absalom went in unto his father's concubine.
So now, Absalom wanted the kingdom from his father because he had envy and jealousy and hatred. And Ahithophel told him, this is what you do. You want to take power? Go take and sleep with David's concubines in front of everybody. Shame him openly. That's shame. To one, have sex in the open, but to have sex with your father's wife? Damn. What happened with the relationship with him and Ahithophel? David and Ahithophel. So read on.
And Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God.
Now listen to what it says. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracles of God. Ahithophel's counsel was so good that it was like you were speaking directly through God. God was speaking through him. That's how much respect he had. But here, that ain't the oracles of God. Read that verse one more time.
Yes, sir. Verse 23. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracles of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom.
So both with David and Absalom he counseled. But you got to know what a man have need when you counsel with him. That's what it tells you, that you have to know what need does he have. So now, why would you sound like the oracles of God, and you've been with David all this time? He saw what David did. Let's read the next verse, chapter 17.
Chapter 17 and verse 1. Moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, let me now choose out of 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night.
So now Ahithophel's saying, damn, Absalom, we're going to take this space. Give me 12,000 men, and I'm going to pursue after David. Read on.
And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid, and all the people that are with him shall flee. And I will smite the king only, and I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all returned. So all the people shall be in peace.
He said, I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to bring all the people to you, Absalom. Now remember, I'm going to go back. We make a few chapters. Remember, David fornicated, committed adultery, but he repented. He went to God. Psalms 51. At the end, God called him his friend. Just remember that, right? Okay, read on.
Verse
4.
Verse 4. And the saying pleased Absalom well, and all the elders of Israel. Then said Absalom, call now Hushai, the Archite, also, and let us hear likewise what he saith. And when Hushai was come to Absalom, Absalom spake unto him, saying, Ahithophel hath spoken after this manner. Shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. And Hushai said unto Absalom, the counsel that Ahithophel hath given is not good at this time. For said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and they be chaffed in their minds, as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field. And thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people.
He said, you should know better. He said, that counsel that Ahithophel gave you ain't good. He said, your father is a mighty man, and he ain't stupid. He ain't going to be lodging with the people. Just keep in mind, you're going to get yourself put to death. Read on.
Behold, he is hidden now in some pit, or in some other place, and it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whosoever heareth it will say, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom.
Read on.
And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt.
He said, you're going to lose so many men that the men left, they're gonna be in fear of David. And they're going to not these same valiant men, their hearts are going to melt. Read on.
For all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men.
Read on.
Therefore I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea of the multitude, and that thou go to battle in thine own person.
Read.
So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground. And of him and of all the men that are with him, there shall not be left such much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel.
Even, listen what it says. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. Read on.
For the Lord hath appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom.
He said, no, I'm going to move the heart that they listen to the counsel of Hushai, so I can bring evil upon Absalom. We're going to defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. Now watch this. Read on.
Verse 15. Then said Hushai unto Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, thus and thus did Ahithophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counseled. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness.
So now Hushai was on the low, still one of David's faithful. So guess what? The Most High moved the heart of Absalom to listen to Hushai, which would have been his demise. But damn, Ahithophel, you was with David and you was his counselor. This is the counsel you give? You let his son sleep with all his wives, and then you tell him, send 12,000 men so they can kill him? What would make you like that? What would make you so bitter? Read on.
But speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up and all the people that are with him.
So he warned them. Read on.
Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by in Rogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city, and went and told them, and they went and told King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom, but they went both of them away quickly and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a wall in his court, whither they went down. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground corn thereon. And the king was not known. And when Absalom's servant came to the woman to the house, they said, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman said unto them, They be gone over the brook of water. And when they had sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, after they had departed, that they came up out of the well, and went and told King David, and said unto David, Arise and pass quickly over the water, for thus hath Ahithophel counseled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan. By the morning light there lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan.
So look what happens. Read on.
And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose, and gat him home to his house and to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself, and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father.
Look at his end. When he realized his counsel was not followed, he said, okay, I lost. Let me go home, set my affairs in order, and I'm going to go kill myself. This was David's counselor that was supposed to be speaking the oracles of God. What would drive you to that point? Here you go. 2 Samuel 23. And this is where we're going to end the class on. 23, verse 34.
2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 34. Ephiliat, the son of Ahashbai, the son of Maacathath, Eliam, the son of Ahithophel.
So who was Eliam's father? Who? Nobody knows? Read again. Eliam.
Eliam, the son of Ahithophel.
Who was Eliam's father? Who? Ahithophel was his father, right? Let's go back to 1 Kings 11.
1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 3. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?
So who was Bathsheba to Ahithophel? That was his granddaughter. He took his granddaughter and made a whore out of her. And he lived with that for years and years and years. And when he saw the opportunity and thought that Absalom can take the kingdom from him, he told him, you know what? You disgrace my household. He used Absalom to disgrace David's household. And said, yo, why don't you sleep with your father's wives on top of the hill in front of everybody? All the time he laid wait. He carried around a grudge for so long and bared hatred. And at the end, it was his ruin. Because David was forgiven of God, and he died as God's friend. So everybody in the class, I hope you got something from today's class, that you received something, get rid of that spirit off of you. All right, with that, stay tuned, 6 p.m., Bishop's class. I think Deacon's on today. Deacon Nathan's class will be on. Y'all stay strong, stay faithful. As Bishop Nathan always say, SPA, study, pray, and apply. We out.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone, 144,000 boots banged. banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.